Hi, everybody. Let's first check if everybody can hear me. Type something like OK or I hear you in chat if you can hear me. OK. Do you hear me? OK. OK, chat is a little bit slow. As far as I can see, everybody can hear me. OK, so this is our first steps webinar, which is designed to make it much easier for you to start practicing quick goals and easily and quickly achieve your goals. First, let me tell you how practically we are going to work. I created a small presentation and I will basically tell you all the things that I believe that are important for starting to practice quick goals. And while I do that, you can type your questions if you have some into the chat. Then after I finish what I wanted to tell you and I complete that presentation, I will make a small break. And in that period, I will check your questions and then I will answer them one by one. So if you have ready questions, you can type them or you can start typing them later. But we will have that small break after I complete what I plan to tell you about quick goals. And in that period, I will be able to check questions that you typed. So let me first start that PowerPoint presentation that I created. So here we are. What is the first thing that you should really understand about quick goal system? Quick goal system is really, really simple and it really works. This is something that you probably were waiting your whole life to happen. This one really works. This one is really simple and you can practice it and you can really achieve your goals. I have practiced and coached most the best systems of this kind in the world. I started to coach people of different self-improvement techniques in 1991. I really believe that I know what are the things that people are doing in this moment, in this area, like goal achievement. And you really cannot find anything that is even close to this one. This is a really simple methodology. This is something that you can really do and do in a small part of your daily time, and you can really achieve your goals. I really believe that this is something that you should have learned in a school. Like when you went to the first grade or in elementary school, your teacher should have teach you this. This is something that is what you should do if you want to really achieve your goals. It is really simple and it really gives results. Like I said, I practiced things like this in the past. I know what other people are doing, and I have practiced them myself, and I practice them coaching my clients. So I know that this one is, like, I know what are normal and expected results and things that you encounter in the past with ideas like that. I know kind of experiences that you're having and the results that you achieved. This one is totally different. This one will give you results and it will give it to you easily. You can really achieve your goals. You can have reality that you want. You can have life that you want. Now I will just for a moment check to see if everybody hears me and if I didn't miss some important message in the chat. I think that I didn't. So what are you going to get with quick goals? You're going to get really elegant system, easy to practice, which will help you achieve your goals. How will it help you achieve your goals? It will help you achieve your goals by eliminating inner conflicts and having a really, really clear procedure to find how exactly you're going to achieve your goal. To understand how we're going to do that, you really need to understand what are the main problems that people are having in achieving goals. Most people try to achieve their goals from inner conflicts that they experience. And because of that, they waste most of their energy in conflicts inside them or fighting different conflicting parts of themselves instead of doing things in material world to achieve their goal or spending energy on achieving their goals in material world. We also feel that most people feel that they must sacrifice their harmony in order to achieve their goals. If you pay attention, since you were a kid, you were basically thought that achieving goals or getting what you want is connecting to something or something that is basically unpleasant. You would have something like eat first your meat, if you want to have your pudding, or go out and dispose trash if you want to go out and play, or clean up your room and then you will be able to watch TV or whatever. Most of the things, most experiences that you have in your life really taught you that achieving goals or getting what you really want is usually unpleasant. This is unpleasant activity. Because of that, most people really feel that it's normal to feel bad while they're trying to achieve their goals. It's normal to that you need to force yourself to do positive things or to behave positively as you should to achieve your goal. And because of that, most people are really failing in achieving their goals because this is really not a natural thing. So most people try to achieve their goals out of harmony, or sorry, not out of harmony, but from inner conflicts without having their inner harmony. And most people try to achieve their goals in a way which is not in harmony with their nature and with their being. And because of that, most people fail. Here, you will, with quick goals, you will learn how to achieve your goals in harmony. We will do that in two different techniques that we will use will give you two different things. Like we'll achieve changes in two different areas. First, you will be able to eliminate inner conflicts by self-improvement techniques that we will learn. And you will have a really clear way to decide the way in which you will achieve your goal in material world and in harmony. So you will, on one side, get yourself in harmonious emotional state from which you will do your work on your goals from harmony. And on the other side, you will have totally clear steps with which you will be able to decide how to achieve your goal in every moment from this moment to final, complete, perfect achievement of your goal. So two main areas: elimination of inner conflicts and deciding how to achieve your goal, or finding or acquiring a really clear vision about how to achieve your goal. And there is a small additional thing that I want to tell you. This is it. To really have benefits from this course, it is necessary to do practical exercises, like you would do if you're a participant in one of my live workshops. Why do I even tell you this? This is because a lot of people are feeling that by learning different goal achievement systems, they are improving themselves and they feel good about themselves for some time, and then they go to find another technique like that and then learn something about achieving the goal. They read some interesting book and have some interesting cognitions about their own behavior and so, but this is not really the point. Main point is to use techniques and eliminate conflicts that you have. This is so because the main problem for achieving goals is not that you don't have enough knowledge. It is that you have inner conflicts, that you're having different parts inside you which are blocking you from behaving in optimal way. If you pay attention, that person who is alcoholic, it is not that he don't know what he should do in order to live happy life. He knows what he needs to do, but there are some emotional things, emotional parts inside of him which are blocking him, which are basically making it impossible for him to behave in optimal way. So you will not have benefits from reading any book about achievement of your goal. You need really to do exercises. Next thing that we're going to talk about is basically about understanding the systems that you will practice. I will talk about structure of quick goals, major elements of the system, and how to use it in best possible way. So in this video or in this webinar, you will learn what is the quick goal system and how will it help you to achieve even the most difficult of your goals. You will learn what are the main problems which block achievement of goals for most people. You will learn what are the four main techniques of spiritual option, or that this should be quick goals, but I didn't modify it in that presentation PowerPoint, and how to use them to solve these problems. And finally you will learn how it is really impossible to fail when you master quick goals. And trust me, this is not some kind of positive thinking story that I will tell you, that you should trust me or believe in that. You will see that when you understand quick goals, when you understand what we are really talking about, you will see that it's impossible to fail, because in every situation that normal people or people who are not using systems like this feel that it is failure, you will see that this is not really a failure. This is just problematic emotion, and that you can do all the things from the beginning of our system. So this is not something that is there. You should believe me, but people really know that they cannot fail with quick goals because they know what to do in each of situations that can happen. And when you know how to do that, you know exactly that you will not fail. So, like we said, there are only two problems for achieving goals: goal-related inner conflicts and not knowing how to achieve your goal, or not having clear vision of how you really can achieve your goal. Because of that, techniques of quick goals really cover only two things. First, elimination of inner conflicts. And second, having clear methodology that will show you exactly how you can achieve your goal in material world. This is why the structure of quick goal system is like it is. First thing that you need to do is to set your goal. This is not really setting of goal like most of goal achievement systems are talking about. In a lot of goal achievement systems, you're having different things about how you should formulate your goal. Should it be in present or in the future? Should it be experience or it can be abstract idea, and so on and so on. This first thing that you need to do is just decision about what you want to work on with quick goals. These are really introduction exercises. For practical purposes, if you want to start practicing quick goals, best idea would be to decide about one day in which you will try to do all exercises from that material. When I schedule live workshops, like a few days before workshop, I send exercises, like introduction exercises, to participants of my workshops. They receive exercises, and I ask them to do these exercises before even coming to workshops that I coach. These are two introduction exercises. These are chapters 2 and 3 in a book, or videos 2 and 3 in a video course. These are just introduction exercises. These are there for you to have your goals defined so you can start workshop, so you can start using quick goals techniques. So if you are thinking about starting to practice quick goals, it would be a good idea to decide about one day in which you will do whole workshop, as if you are doing it in a live workshop with me. And before that, you should define your goal. You should do exercises from chapters 2 and 3, or videos 2 and 3. You should do that before you even start. So my idea would be you should do that before Wednesday. If you're doing that on a Saturday, if you want to complete whole workshop on Saturday, you should complete these exercises at Wednesday, like last moment to do it is Wednesday. This is not really part of quick goals system. This is really something that you should do before starting any work on any goal. This is decide what goal you want to work on, and have some kind of testing of state that you're in regard to that goal. Now I will check one more time to see if you still hear me, if everything is okay. 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 Let's try check one more time. Do you hear me? Okay, there is always small lag, so David has no sound. Olga. Okay, let me know if you hear me. Olga, do you hear me? Okay. Okay, like I said, I'm going to answer questions after I complete that presentation that I'm doing. Like after I'm finished with that, we'll make a small break, and then I will look at all your questions, and after that I will start answering them. So I will not answer questions now. I will answer them later. So, okay. Okay. So, like I said, before you start using system, you should do first 2 exercises. These are chapters 2 and 3. After that, we are going really into system. First technique of the system is 10 fingers technique. This is a really basic technique. This is basis of everything that you will do in the system. It is a really easy and simple technique, and you will be able to use it like in every area of your life, even basically those not connected to your goals. Like we said 2 main areas that we are working on. First, elimination of inner conflicts. Second, deciding and acquiring a really good, clear vision about how you're going to achieve your goal. First is elimination of inner conflicts. You need to do that first before you start deciding about how you're going to achieve your goal. And this is what you're going to do with the 10 fingers technique. This is the main technique of the system. You will see how it has 2 parts: finding of barrier that is blocking you from achievement of your goal, and then with 10 fingers you are basically resolving that barrier, or you are reacquiring like that orientation toward your goal instead of withdrawal from that goal that you're having when you're encountering barrier. 10 fingers technique is really simple, and if you tried it, you will see that it works really nicely. It has just few technical points, and you have them all in that list of technical points that is there as part of printable materials, and it is really something that can easily be done. If you have any questions, I will answer to these questions about 10 fingers technique when we come to the questions and answer part of this webinar. After you complete elimination of inner conflicts by 10 fingers technique, you will start transforming your goal into goal achievement experience. Like we said, first, elimination of inner conflicts. This is what we do with the 10 fingers technique. And after that, we have creation of goal achievement experience. And when you have goal achievement experience, you have best case scenario, because best case scenario is just past of your goal achievement experience. When you have best case scenario, you can easily create list of actions for achievement of that goal. So 2 main parts: elimination of inner conflicts with 10 fingers, finding how to achieve your goal with goal achievement experience, best case scenario, list of actions. If you pay attention, you will see that you have little bit more practical exercises than just these 4. Because in every step, like creation of goal achievement experience, like noticing best case scenario, noticing list of actions, with each of them, we were using 10 fingers technique to clear inner conflicts that are connected to these parts. So we don't have just create goal achievement experience, but we created goal achievement experience, and then we have done is it possible to fail with this goal achievement experience. So basically you use 10 fingers, but not on abstract goal, but on that goal achievement experience. Then we noticed best case scenario. Best case scenario, again, you would ask, okay, is it possible for this best case scenario to fail? And again, you would do 10 fingers technique. So in every step that you do about getting clear idea about how you're going to achieve your goal, in every step you would do again like clearing of possible conflicts connected to that part. So it is not just 10 fingers at the beginning, but you would do 10 fingers in every step. When you create goal achievement experience, you check and do 10 fingers on 10 goal achievement experience. When you do best case scenario, or when you write down your best case scenario, you would do again 10 fingers technique for the elimination of inter-conflicts connected to best case scenario. When you create list of actions, again, 10 fingers technique for your list of actions, or best case scenario plus list of actions as action plan. After that, so basically, you would say there are basically really 4 main technical steps that you are doing. 10 fingers process for elimination of inner conflicts, creation of goal achievement experience. When you have goal achievement experience, you have best case scenario. When you have best case scenario, you have a list of actions. Basically, these are just 4 main things that you're doing. There is additional thing, and this is this last one, which is not, that doesn't have a bullet in front of it. It says, take action and keep, this is not EMT for goals, this should be 10 fingers technique. And keeping yourself in the best, in optimal state, like 10 out of 10. This is so because when you start taking actions, some of these actions will produce result, but some of these actions won't produce result. Each of these actions that doesn't produce result will again get you out of that optimal state, and you will have to modify your plan, how you're going to achieve your goal. And on the other side, you will have to get yourself again in a good emotional state. So this is like 4 main techniques: 10 fingers, goal achievement experience, best case scenario, and list of actions. And understanding that you will do it again and again and again and again, because your first plan, how to achieve your goal, your first action plan, best case scenario plus list of actions, will not be perfect. There is a really, really good explanation of that in video 13 or in chapter 13. In that explanation, I insist on that, like, if Boeing is making dozens of prototypes, they don't start making producing airplanes from their blueprints. They have blueprints, but they don't start producing airplanes from blueprints. They create prototypes. They see what is wrong with the prototypes. They fly hundreds of hours with these prototypes, and they find glitches and mistakes in design. And because of that, if they don't do that, aircrafts fall, and hundreds of passengers will die, and they will be sued, and they don't want that. The same situation is here. You know at the beginning that your first plan will not give you perfect result. So you know that somewhere your first plan will fail. And this is what that last part without bullet is telling you. Take actions and keep doing 10 fingers in order to keep yourself in a good emotional state. So basically repeat everything that you have done, like 10 fingers, goal achievement experience, best case scenario, list of actions. Repeat it every time that something goes wrong. You need to get yourself again in a good emotional state and find new clear vision how you're going to achieve your goal after something failed, because these failures are really giving you additional information that you didn't have at the beginning of your work. Like that story that I told you, this is about you do the sequence, you use system, you get yourself in a good emotional state, create goal achievement experience, create best case scenario, create list of actions, then start taking actions. After you start taking actions, some of them are succeeding and they're getting you closer and closer to achieving your goal, but some of them are not succeeding. Some of them really fail, and that make your whole plan fail. Then you need to get another round of all techniques from the beginning. 10 fingers, goal achievement experience, best case scenario, list of actions. in that way, you're getting closer and closer to the perfect plan that will bring you to your goal achievement experience. And in that way, you're getting better and better plan, your behavior is better and better, and you're acquiring new information that you didn't have at the beginning when you created your first goal achievement experience and first best case scenario and plan how to achieve your goal. So this is it. We have really just 4 techniques: 10 fingers, goal achievement experience, best case scenario, list of actions. Steps. You need to take these 4 steps and get yourself in good emotional state, and you will have clear vision how to achieve your goal. But you know that this is not a perfect plan. You know that it will fail somewhere. You expect that, and you know that, again, when it fails, it will give you new information about achievement of your goal. When you have new information, you will be able to create new, again, to get yourself in good emotional state and create new goal achievement experience, best case scenario, list of actions. So this gets us back to the main point. The main point is that you can really achieve your goals like this. I have seen hundreds of my clients achieve their goals. This is not a system that works just for its author, for me. It really works. And if you just invest small amount of energy of understanding that, you will see that there is nothing not to work there. It is not possible for it to work. This is something that is there to improve your behavior, to allow you to behave like most capable or most people that are most successful are doing. This is have good plan how to achieve your goal. Start taking actions from the plan. When something goes wrong, you need to reevaluate. You need to create a new plan with new information that you're having. Some of the things are not working. You need to modify them. After you modify it, you start working with a new plan. After some time, some other things again fails. And you again need to modify your plan, modify your plan, modify your plan. In the end, you learn from each of these failures you're learning, and your plan is improving. You're getting better and better plan, and getting closer and closer to your achievement with those parts of a plan that are working. In the end, you really achieve your goal. This is a really good story. This is really good idea, but usually it doesn't work for people. This is a good idea for a robot. If you're a robot, you can do that. You can improve your behavior. You can learn from each of the failures. But people usually don't do that. People are disappointed. People feel bad about it. People dramatize about who is guilty for what, who is responsible for what part of failure. They feel bad about it, and they give up their goals. I said you will behave like most successful people are doing. But these people are doing it based on their characters or characteristics of their personality. You will be really in a better situation. You will have ability to do it like at will, to change your inner states and not depend on your character or your willpower. You will be able to change negative emotions that you're having, and in that way you will have control over your states, and because of that you will have control of your behavior, and because of that you will have control of your results, or you will be able to achieve your goals. So in a way, you are in much better situation than people who are really successful. They are doing that depending on their own good inner states, and they have these good inner states. They have these better inner states that you or I are having. But you have your I really like my situation more than theirs. It is better to be able to to change your inner states and not depend on your willpower or your good inner states. Most of really successful people, they're having some parts, some situations that they are not able to deal with because some problematic outcomes really make get even them into bad emotional states. You will be able to deal with that because you will have a really simple technique that will be able to get you again in an optimal state, even if different problematic things happen, and they will happen. Okay. Okay. Okay, now this was the part that this was basically these basic things that I wanted to tell you about the system. Now I will be able to answer your questions. Let me see if you have some. Okay, first one. Okay, Olga asks something like, could goal be in 4 years? Yes, it can be. Like every goal that you have really depends on goal. Timeline for that or deadline in which you want to achieve it is really depends on what kind of reality you want to achieve and what kind of goal you want to achieve. If you want to create the biggest company in the world, like few billions of worth for company, then you will need few years probably to achieve that, or something like that. Okay, do we have any more questions? Okay, my first question is, did you start practicing? Did you try to do some of the exercises, practical exercises from the book? Or you were waiting just for the webinar to start? Okay, like interesting things about those are, okay, I have a question. Trait on scale -10 to +10. What will it mean being at +2 or +6? Why do we have +10? Let me see. Somehow I'm not seeing the whole chat. Chat. Okay, like question. Question is, testing the negative traits on scale -10 to +10. What will it mean being at +2, +6? Why do we have +10? Like that test is there really just to show you what is your current state at the beginning of workshop. When you start using technique, you will see that these ratings will change. But we want to have some kind of reference at the beginning to know if you are improving your state or not. And we want to have some kind of checkpoint that will show you at the end of the work if you really completed the whole work. And because of that, we need to do that test. Because we do it at the beginning, we do it at the end. We are able to see how we change our inner states about that. And we're able to see if there are some remaining parts of charge that you still need to do. And this is what is happening in that 14th, like chapter number 14. You use that test to find some remaining parts of the conflict or remaining parts of the emotional charge that you also need to eliminate. This is the reason why we do that. That test. And when you're testing how each of these affirmations is true for you, like it is quite natural for me to achieve that goal. This is second affirmation. Then you need to have some kind of reference to know how much is that true for you or not. You would rate it -10 if it is totally not true for you. You would say it is -6 if it is not true, but not completely not true. You would say it is something around 0 if you sometimes you are like this, you feel something like that, or if you feel a little bit like that about the goal or a little bit not about the goal, then this is a 0. It is +5 if it is relatively true for you. You feel, yes, this is natural for me, but not really completely for that. This is like if it is 10 out of 10. Okay, let's me see question. Alexander, can I use EMT for special option system instead of 10 fingers part of the system, while other parts of the goals remain the same? Yes, you can use EMT. But the fact is that EMT is really really goes a little bit deeper than it is necessary for you to practice every day. It is technique that really can, there are technical points. It is much more complex technique, and you need to really know what you're doing when you're doing it. And second, you would need 15 minutes to 20 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes to 20 minutes to do really good 10 fingers process. And this is not something that you can do usually in the morning. Most people cannot do that. And because of that, it is much easier, and people are getting much better results with 10 fingers because it is easier to do. You have to sit down to do EMT, and sit down and have half an hour to be sure that you will get yourself in a good state, because sometimes you will need more than one experience to work on. You will have 2 or 3 experiences. This is a totally normal thing when something goes wrong. If you created your goal achievement experience, best case scenario, list of actions, you start taking actions. When something goes wrong, and it will go wrong, you will get yourself again in a non-optimal state. And because of that, you will have in the morning, before you do anything else, you will have to, to get yourself in a good state. And this is not something that most people can do, because people go to work, people have children, they make dinner or whatever. Most people really cannot have 45 minutes or 1 hour in the morning for processing themselves. I created these techniques for myself, but I have a really uncharacteristic reality. I'm having 1 or 2 workshops in like 2 months or 3 months. Most of the time I can process myself. In the morning, I go out and have a breakfast. I'm doing processes there, I'm enjoying myself, and so on and so on. I have time, I can do that. But most people who are working like 8 hours in some company, they cannot do that and have different things in their life. Because of that, it is much easier to use 10 fingers. But answer to your question is yes, you can do EMT. But basically, if you other changes for goal achievement experience and best case scenario, they're really not really big difference between quick goals and spiritual option is in 10 fingers technique. And because of that, methodology on working on best case scenario and list of actions and goal achievement experience is also a little bit different. But you can, if you are working easily with EMT and you're having great results, great. It is even better. It will give you little bit deeper results than 10 fingers. 10 fingers is good enough. It will produce results that are necessary for optimal behavior in material world. But EMT is a little bit deeper and works a little bit better. But you can make technical mistakes about it. It is more complex than 10 fingers. And it demands more time. It is more difficult to do it regularly. And the really important thing about achieving goals is regularity. This is not about doing one great process and feeling great about once in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It is much better to do it regularly, really, even shallow process. This is not really shallow. It is perfect for achieving goals. But it is really important thing about it for getting results is regularity, because, like we said, your first best case scenario and list of actions will not be good. It will fail somewhere, and then you will have to do it again in the morning in that daily plan. Do it once, do it second time, do it third time. In that way, you are always in a good emotional state. If you cannot do it and you need like whole week to be able to find time to process yourself, it will not work toward your goal as fast as it can work. This is why it is much better to use 10 fingers. Bernd. Hi, Philip. I'm working with your video course. It worked like a dream. Yes. Question. Goal achievement experience has another date, then the deadline is later. Shall I change the initial deadline according to the date of goal achievement experience? This is a really good question, and answer is as follows. At the beginning, when you set a deadline for your goal, you set the deadline for your goal without enough information about reality and from a state of an optimal emotional state. This is why, if you pay attention, I say a lot of times something like, your goal should change with every process you do. This is natural because nature of the process that you are doing is changing in yourself, not changing in reality. Because of that, you are having changes in perception of the goal and usually in what your goal should be. Sometimes, so answer to your question is, if as a result of the process that you do, you realize that your goal achievement experience needs to be on different place, like 2 months later than the deadline that you set at the beginning, this is that change of your goal that we're talking about. During processes that you do, you eliminate the inner conflicts and you put your goal achievement experience at further in the future than it was at the beginning. Sometimes just by realizing what are things that need to happen on your best case scenario to make it really happen, then it will make it okay. Yes, I can only do that in 3 months later because this and that needs to happen before that. And this is natural thing. You should always allow your deadline to extend, but only if you have cognitions with the process. You don't do that because something bad happens and then I procrastinate, or then I extend my deadline. Okay, it will be 3 months later. No, you don't do that. You first do the process, you get yourself again in optimal state, and if this optimal state tells you, okay, this is the right thing to do, then you extend your deadline. Like we said, you allow yourself to change your goal in any possible way, because if you do the process, if this is a result of a process and cognitions and realizations that you have, then this is totally okay to change anything in your goal, including the deadline. Dennis, what if we have different goals in different fields of life? A goal on my job, a goal about exercising, some private goal, 5 to 6 different goals totally. How then? This is really, again, a good question. And answer to that question is as follows. First, at the beginning, when you start using the system, it is good to have just one goal. In that way, you know that conflicts that you're having, like emotional charge, is from that area. You know that like list of actions that you're having, your best case scenario, this is really, really simple, and then everything works fine. After some time, you will naturally see that you have more than one goal in your life, and most of them will demand the same attention as one big one. So you will need to be in good emotional state in regard to each of them. You will have to have clear vision how you are going to achieve it, and clear vision how you're going to behave to achieve that goal. Because of that, with every new goal that you include, you should do the whole big one-day work on that goal. So you should do 10 fingers, you should create goal-achievement experience, you should have best case scenario and list of actions, and be really happy with that. When you have that, you should probably have some kind of fitting of this new goal with other goals that you previously had. You will need to see how will all these things happen. And after some time, your goal achievement experience would be something like whole reality that you want to have. Not different goals, but whole reality that you want to have. And sometimes, in some period, you will pay more attention to one of the goals, and you will take actions from that area and process yourself more on that area. And in next period, you will work on second one, and then again on the first one, and so on and so on. It really depends on what is happening in your life in different areas. In a way, you will have to juggle, like keeping 3 or 4 balls in air at the same time. For each of them, you will need to keep yourself in a good emotional state, emotions, 10 fingers, then to have clear vision, goal achievement experience, best case scenario, and list of actions, which you feel that are good. If you pay attention, that this is process from something like probably 12, chapter number 12. It asks you, okay, is it possible for this list of actions and best case scenario to fail? Is it perfect? Is it 10 out of 10? You need to have in all areas, you will have to have that it is perfect and it is 10 out of 10, and you feel good. Because there are 4 or 5, as you said, with 5 or 6 areas, some of them will slip a little bit, but you need to keep attention on those that are important in that moment. If you have some really, really important thing in your business, you will pay attention to that, and you will have that best case scenario list of actions totally 10 out of 10 in good emotional state. Maybe you will have some doubts about some other thing, like I want also to have a house. And you will neglect that for a few days when there is something that is really important in other area. And then when that important thing passes, then you pay attention to those which you neglected, and so on and so on. Olga says, I have been practicing for a year. Yes, I know. Alexander, can you demonstrate how you go through the 10 fingers when you are doing 10 finger process by giving an example? Thank you. Yes, I can. Okay, 10 fingers. Like, okay. For example, when I was preparing myself for when I was preparing myself for this webinar, I have done, this morning I was asking myself, okay, am I going to enjoy, like my goal was to enjoy myself today on a webinar when I was doing it, and to make it really clear and easy for participants to start practicing. These are two goals that I have. Okay, so if I'm starting this process now, this is what would happen. This is like, okay, so first, like, process has two parts. First one is finding a barrier. Second one is going through 10 fingers. Third one is going through cognitions and realizations that you have. So I'm going, if I was doing a process, I would read material that I'm having. And first question says, is it possible to fail? My goal is to enjoy myself and make it really easy for practitioners to practice. Is it possible to fail? My first answer to that is yes. Yes, it is possible to fail. Second question, how can you fail? I can fail because my barrier this morning was because I really am not quite sure what are all the things that I'm going to tell to my participants during that workshop or webinar, during that webinar. Okay, that is the first. How can I fail? I can fail because I really don't know what are all the things. So left hand. It is possible to fail because I don't know what I need to tell to my practitioners. Inhale, exhale. Like second finger, this is right hand. Although I don't know what I want to tell to participants, do I still want to have that successful webinar and people who are understanding what they need to do, and that I will enjoy? Yes, I do. Inhale, exhale. Second finger of left hand. Is it possible? It is possible to fail because I don't know what are all the things that I need to tell. I don't have a plan. Inhale, exhale. Second finger, right hand. Although I don't have a plan, I still want to enjoy myself, and I want all participants to really understand what they need to do. Inhale, exhale. Third finger, left hand. It is possible to fail because I don't know I don't have a plan. Inhale, exhale. Third finger, right hand. It's although I don't have a plan, I still want to enjoy myself and to make it really clear what participants doing. Inhale, exhale. Fourth finger, left hand. It's possible to fail because I don't have a plan. Right hand, although I don't have a plan, I still want to enjoy myself and to make it clear to participants. Left hand, it's possible to fail because I don't have a plan. Right hand, although I don't have a plan, I still want to enjoy. Inhale, exhale. This is 10 fingers. After that, question number 5. Or 4. No, 4. Question number 4. Is there anything that you realize about problem, about situation, or about your goal? Okay. So what I realized, basically, I didn't get so far. I didn't do whole process. I demonstrated whole process here because you asked me to demonstrate. But at the first finger, I realized when I said I don't have a plan, I need to make plan. I really sit down and created a plan. I made basically some kind of sketch of all things that I need to say to you in this webinar. And here it is. It was like first thing that I realized that I need to say is it can be done. You can really achieve your goals, and it is easy and much easier than any other system that you might have encountered in the past. It was the first thing. Second one is that problem is not that problem for achieving goals is not that you have lack of knowledge, but you have inner confidence that this is what you need to do. This is why you need to practice. You don't have, it is not enough to read a book or to look at videos, but you need to do practical exercise, and so on and so on. Like when I formulated my barrier, it is possible to fail because I don't have a plan. I realized that I need to write plan right away. So that cognition from point number 4, this is something that happened earlier, but cognition was, okay, I need to write down that plan, and I wrote it. So technique is really simple. Go through the process, read questions. First, is it possible to fail? Yes. Usually at the beginning, you will always have yes. How can you fail? You have some kind of explanation why it is possible to fail, and this is your barrier. On the left hand, first finger left hand, it is possible to fail because of that barrier. Inhale, exhale. Right hand, first finger, although that barrier exists, although I don't have a plan, I still want that goal. I want to enjoy webinar and to make it really clear to participants. Inhale, exhale. So left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand. When you complete all 10 fingers, you go to the next point in the process that says, okay, any cognitions, realizations that you had during the process, how that barrier looks now. You will see that in most cases, that barrier stops being a barrier. Okay, this is like I'm going to, I'm preparing some new materials for you as participants, but I will do that after I come back from Moscow. So I will also make that video about 10 fingers also available. So you will have whole video later. This is something that will happen in November. Okay, Alexander. Thank you, Philip. Maybe I will try MT instead of 10 fingers because I found it was more effective for me then. Okay, yes. If you have time, this is 10 fingers really works. Not 10 fingers, but EMT. EMT is a really, really nice technique, and a lot of people want to use 10 fingers, but it is easier to use 10 fingers. I'm using 10 fingers by myself, for me. David, is there anyone here that would be interested in trying to work as a two-person team? I mean, do it over Skype. I don't know what TWP is, so David, but if anybody is interested to work together with David or something like that, you are quite welcome to do that. And I think that this is a good idea. David, I've been working with Quickgo off and on for about a year now too. Nina, will we have another webinar to continue this? Yes, we will have next webinar on 17th of November. Not 17th, today is 17th. No, this is 7th of November, I schedule it. 7th of November is second part. This will be mostly a little bit of talk from me, but mostly questions and answers webinar. This is what will happen on 7th of November. Olga, Philip. Let's have an online group for testing and practicing 10 fingers and our goals our clients, as we talked in Belgrade. Yes, I will. You are quite welcome to organize anything that you want, and if you want, basically you can publish all these things on Spiritual Option group and ask anybody to work with you. I will talk with different coaches, and you specifically when we see each other in Moscow in like next 2 weeks or something like that. I will come to Moscow and we can talk about it then. But anybody who is interested in having any kind of group, this is a really good idea. This will really work. And I will probably organize something like that. But even if you want to do it before, you can organize it, and you can ask people on Spiritual Option group, and they will probably be really interested in doing that. Okay. Okay. Do you have any more questions? Alexander, thank you. Your technical example and explanations were really insightful. Thank you very much. I'm really glad that you enjoyed it. Okay. That is a mistake. It should be spelled too. I don't know. The troubles means huge amount of charge that is stimulates or restimulates. David said something like, okay, what troubles me is a huge amount of charge that is stimulated. This technique is not really deep. This, if you pay attention to what technique really asks you, it shows that this is really connected to goal, and it should be connected to goal. And this is why technique doesn't go too deep. Like I told you in that email that I sent you, this really means that you should, if you have these kind of situations happening when you're trying to work on your goals, then you should find what is really happening and what kind of problematic state is this, and then do process specifically on that. Don't do don't continue doing process on goal that you're having, but do notice what is happening to you. Notice what kind of problematic state you're experiencing. Is it some body sensation, some emotion, some belief, some picture, image, or something like? Find what is disturbing you and do the process with that. Then you should work on that without getting back to work on the goal until it is resolved, or find some coach to work on or something like that. This is not like 10 fingers technique is a really, really simple and shallow technique. It works something on the level which, if you pay attention to what techniques does, it really just restates your orientation toward goal instead of retrieving the barrier. This is not really deep. The fact that you get restimulated like that with different things like that, it really means that you should find what is really there and work on that. Don't continue working on a goal. Okay. Working as a two-person team with me, email me at David Pelly Hotmail, and I have quite a bit of experience in process. I think that this is a really good idea. If 10 fingers is technique, which is one of the rare techniques that you can do by yourself. But it is always better to work in a pair or in a group, because in that way you will have regularity. If you start setting these meetings regularly, you will have some kind of support from a group, even if it is just a pair. It will work much better if you organize it as a pair. So, David, maybe it is a good idea to ask on that Spiritual Option group, ask someone who is willing to co-process you or work together with you. It will be a really good idea. Okay, and this is true not only for David, this is true for everybody. This is much easier to have success and have results if you're working regularly as a group than if you're doing it by yourself. On the other side, it has some technical questions which will happen when which are connected with how people behave in groups. But it is a really good idea if you want to do it. Okay, Olga, my Skype is Olga Lauren. Please add me. Okay, yes. Okay. Okay. So, do we have any more questions? Like I said, next one will be on 7th of November. This is something like, I think, 3 weeks from now or something like that. Yes, 3 weeks from now. Yes, 3 weeks from now. Okay. Any more questions? I cannot see any more questions. If this is it. Okay, so if you have questions, just there is another thing that I wanted to tell you. This is about when you practice by yourself, when you're trying to use some technique from book or from video course. Inevitably, you will get into a situation when you have some questions. In most cases, you cannot have your answers right away. But it is important to decide, to see what's question that I'm having, to write it down, and to find your own answer to that. From that moment, when you decided, okay, this could be this or this could be that. Should I do it this or should I do it that way? When you realize what is your dilemma about it, just what is your doubt about it, find your own answer, which is most logical for you in that moment, and treat it as it is a really correct answer. From this point, this is true for you. If you don't do that, your attention, your questions will pile up, and your attention will be split between these questions. And after some time, you will feel confusion about it, and you will not be able to continue. So when you're practicing yourself, you need to, every doubt that you have, you need to resolve it somehow for yourself, for that moment. Say, I don't know, should I do technically this or that? If you don't know, say, okay, what is the most likely answer for you in that moment? Find your own answer, write it down, and treat it as it is the right answer. If you don't do that, these doubts will pile up, and each of these creates a little bit of confusion and irritation, upset, and after some time, it will become so strong that you will not be able to continue working. So when you're practicing by yourself, you need to trust yourself. If you have doubts, decide by yourself what is the logical answer, and keep and behave as if it is really, really right answer, as if I told you this answer. I'm telling you this because you're practicing that by yourself. We have next webinar in 3 weeks. It will be Saturday. It will be again this time 6 p.m. Belgrade time. But for every question that you have, find your own answer about it, or confusion will make you quit practicing. This is true not only for quick goals, but it is true for everything that you're trying to practice by yourself. When you have doubt, find your own answer, treat it as it is an absolute truth. You can ask, you can send email and ask or whatever, but when you're doing it, find your own answer about it. Okay. Okay. If you don't have any more questions, then we have finished for today. See you all in 3 weeks. Try to practice it. It is a really simple technique. It is something that could be done in 1 day. Do preparatory exercises like setting and testing your goal on Wednesday, and do 3 or 4 hours on Saturday. You will be able, in most cases, for most goals, you will be able to make really big improvement in just these 3 or 4 hours. Practice it. Don't leave it on the level of reading a book or something like that. Yes, like Olga says, just sit and do 10 fingers. It works. Okay, so this is it from me for today. See you all in 3 weeks. And some of you I will see in Moscow even before that. Okay, bye-bye, everybody.